Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for your patience as we figured out the technology today. My name is Dr. Paul Schlag. I'm the Executive Director of the Honors College at Central State, also over International Affairs. I bring you greetings on behalf of President Thomas. I guarantee President Thomas wanted to be here today. I spoke with him about it, but he's in Columbus advocating for more funding for the university, so that's a pretty worthy endeavor, but he fully supports Danielle and the efforts that she's putting forth and the positive attention she has brought to Central State University, and wishes he could be here with us today. So greetings from President Thomas as well. If you don't know this individual, you soon will, and everybody will know her eventually. I am confident of that. Danielle Darkenwald is an incredible person, and the sky is the limit from my perspective on what she's going to accomplish in this world. Danielle is a junior history major with a minor in international languages at Central State University, and she is our first Boren Award recipient. Let's give her a round of applause. All right, she has so many achievements. I know I'm going to miss some of them, but I just want to list a few of the achievements. She has earned and received the following awards: the Upperclassman Scholarship, the Trustee Scholarship at Central State University, Honor Certificates, Excellence in Arabic Languages and Cultures Award, Outstanding Scholar in Pre-Law Award, and many others. She has been a Dayton Urban Young Life Mentor, a part of the NAACP, a Student Council Representative for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Council Representative, member of the Pre-Law Society, an honor student at CSU, one of the very first from her freshman year on, and has done amazing things with the Honors College as well. She's maintained a 4.0 every academic semester at Central State University and has completed internships at the American Red Cross, the Cleveland Municipal Court, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So again, Danielle is the first Boren Award. So the Boren Award is named after U.S. Senator from Oklahoma, David L. Boren. He promoted legislation that created the National Security Education Program. And really what they're trying to do through the U.S. Department of Defense is create people who are interested in national security for the United States with the language skills that are absolutely vital and critical to our safety and our security. So there are particular interests in areas in the world where they want to focus on to create experts in those regions in terms of the language and knowledge of the culture. So Danielle, she came to my office and we talked about her desire to study many different languages. I met her also as we welcomed Fulbrights one year, and she was telling me all the things that she was doing and what she wanted to do with languages to help other people. And we talked about the Boren Award. She took that and ran with it. She took it and did all of her homework and put together some of the most amazing essays you could possibly imagine. I've been a Boren panelist, which selects the recipient of this award for maybe 7 years now. And this last year, I was actually a Boren panelist for grad students who are putting in applications. I have never seen a better application than the one Danielle put together. And I'd like to take credit, but I had nothing to do with it. I gave her a little bit of advice, and Danielle took it and ran with it. So let me just tell you, she's competing in this application with people from Harvard and Stanford and Penn, other Ivy League schools that have tremendous support systems all around them, huge language programs and professors helping them write and create this. And she comes from Central State University and takes on those people and dominates it. So this is a big deal, and the opportunity for her to have this experience is a game changer. She's a pioneer for Central State University, and I hope our students will follow her example, that they will stand upon her shoulders for opportunities such as this, and that they can see, you know what, she shows that it's possible for someone from the public Midwestern HBCU to get a Boren Award and then go on to be the Attorney General of the United States of America. So without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce our Boren Scholarship recipient, Danielle Darkenwald.
Thank you so much, Dr. Slag, for that meaningful introduction. Good morning, or kwa Kiswahili, habari za asubuhi. Honored to stand here before you all today as the first recipient of the David L. Boren Award at Central State University. I plan to highlight in this presentation what the Boren Award is and my personal perspectives along the way. This journey granted many new experiences with peaks and valleys, which constitute too many to discuss all in this presentation. My name is Danielle Darkenwald. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a second-term junior here at Central State University, majoring in history with a concentration in Africana studies. I'm an active member in several organizations and honor societies on campus. My passion for language learning has momentously sculpted me into becoming a well-versed person. Prior to my travels, I aspired to become the Attorney General. However, on return of my travels, I have discovered new professions that are strongly related to my interest in using language in the legal field. Currently, my long-term career goal is becoming an attorney for the Department of Justice with a specialization in international law. I'm optimistic that specializing in international law will lead me in the direction of becoming a legal attaché or legat, which is an FBI agent in an international office outside of the United States. The David L. Boren Award is the United States Department of Defense initiative with the Defense Language and National Security Education Office, or commonly known as DELENCIO. The initiative provides scholarships up to $25,000 for undergraduates and fellowships to graduate students. The award is highly competitive, with exceptional students from all across the United States participating. The scholarship amount is determined on the study abroad proposal or determined by the duration of your program. There are 4 different initiatives, which include African, Indonesian, South Asian, and Turkish. According to the BorenAward.org, in 2022, the nominating panel selected 121 Boren Fellows and 208 Boren Scholars from 246 graduate and 458 undergraduate students. My advice for applying for the Boren Award. I must be honest, applying for the Boren Award was complex. However, the process was easy once it was done. I experienced imposter syndrome, which is characterized by emotions of self-doubt, reluctance, and the fear of rejection. I revised my national security essay 3 times because I didn't think it was strong enough. With the help of CSU faculty, mentors, and my family, I was able to push through and finish my application. Considering these challenges, I want to strongly encourage HBCU candidates on how to feel confident in knowing they are just as worthy. A few tips that I have for future applicants are to obtain your U.S. passport, be prepared for personal expenses during the domestic and overseas programs, and also be prepared for at least 6 months of intensive language study. My final tip is to don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and network. Networking was one of my greatest contributors while in this journey. Tips for the application process. My advice for the application process is to pace yourself and give yourself a timeline. The application asks you to describe your prospective federal job and how you intend to use your proposed language. What helped me during this application process was having great references who are willing to write me excellent letters of recommendations. Lastly, having reviewers such as instructors, family members, and advisors aided me in giving me constructive feedback on my essays. These were a few aspects which greatly aided me during the application process. Now that I have briefly explained the application process and the Boren Award, I am now going to discuss my experiences as a Boren Scholar during the domestic and overseas portion of the program. Before I share my experiences within the program, I want to highlight what inspired me to pursue Swahili. My inspiration for Swahili came in 2019 during my first ever law internship with the Stephanie Tubb Jones Legal Academy through Case Western Reserve University. I encountered my first Swahili speaker while interning at the Cleveland Municipal Court. This internship was a life-changing opportunity for me that inspired me to become multilingual in the future. When becoming an undergraduate, my inquisitiveness for learning new languages remained. During my sophomore year, I took 2 terms with an Arabic instructor from Egypt. Some brief facts about Swahili are the following. It is spoken in nearly 14 countries in the East African region. However, Swahili is primarily spoken in Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya. Swahili is the official national language of Tanzania and the official language in the East African community. Boren offers 6 African language study programs, including Swahili. The African Language Flagship Initiative oversees the administration of the African languages. The African Flagship Initiative, also known as AFLI, is an immersive and intense language initiative for the Boren Award. The AFLI program is conducted in Gainesville, Florida, at the University of Florida. The AFLI initiative offers African language such as Swahili, Wolof, French, Akan, and Twi. The AFLI program incorporates instructors who are fluent in the language and have first-hand knowledge of the environment to which the students will be visiting. This aspect significantly improves the curriculum and cultural awareness provided to students prior to the overseas portion of the program. A key aspect to note is that I did not have any prior knowledge of Swahili before applying to the Boren Award. Some languages require prior proficiency, however, Swahili was not one of those languages. Before classes began, every student had to conduct a conversation with their proposed instructor and the directors of the AFLI program. Language placement varied between beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Classes were from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. I initially viewed the schedule as difficult because I had just completed my sophomore year. When I first started the program, I was determined to balance my mental health. In Florida, I began to engage in activities such as exercising and journaling. These activities aided me in strengthening my mental health and balanced my other interests. Initially in the program, I felt anxieties from being the only HBCU student in my cohort, as well as being the youngest student in my cohort. However, these anxieties were short-lived because I had the encouragement of my colleagues within my cohort, as well as my mentors. The program was definitely intense as promised. My classmates and I encouraged each other along the journey, and eventually, we became a significant support system for one another. The AFLI program offers excellent elements that enrich my participation. In this slide, I plan on discussing the elements that enrich the program and enhance my participation as a participant. For instance, the African Eats event. The African Eats event and homestay family visits provided opportunities for us to use our language abilities outside of the classroom. The African Eats event was within all the African languages at within the AFLI program. These events gave us the opportunity to use our language skills within the kitchen with our instructors and colleagues. This also gave me the opportunity to cook Tanzanian dishes. Some of my favorite Tanzanian dishes now are pilau, mandazis, sambusas, and samaki. What I gained the most from this experience was the ability to learn and prepare some of my current favorite Tanzanian dishes, which I was then able to prepare when I traveled overseas with my homestay family. The AFLI program has several components which made it an engaging and stimulating learning environment that greatly aided my Swahili advancement. Graduation. After 8 weeks of intense Swahili learning, I passed both of my classes with A's. By the end of the domestic program, we had studied so many areas in class. To name a few, I was skilled in providing a personal description of my life, family members, and outside interests of class. I was able to also speak with people about their well-being, buy or request foods and products, and lastly, count in Swahili. Graduation day came before we knew it. We were all amazed at the linguistic growth we noticed within ourselves. My instructor noticed our linguistic growth and our potential before I realized it. I recall a conversation I had with Mwalimu Happiness after I received my first Swahili test back. I received a C, and I told my Mwalimu, I see myself passing this class with at least a C. And she said, why not an A? On graduation day, she brought this conversation up to me again and told me, I told you I could do it, and smiled. I am sharing this conversation I had with her today because in the beginning, I did not see the confidence I had in myself that others saw in me. I hope by sharing this experience, I can encourage future candidates to believe in themselves, even though the journey is difficult. After completing the domestic segment of the program, we left the University of Florida and returned home. During this time, I received vaccines, purchased travel-related items, and signed relevant Boren paperwork. At the near end of the break, Boren conducted a 2-day convocation via Zoom. These convocations served as informative sessions to prepare us for international travel, and also the route to federal employment after successful completion of the overseas and domestic programs. So, I want to now engage my audience and have a call and response. So, I'm not going to give you all a difficult word, but in Swahili, you can use this greeting, which is mambo, with all ages and audiences. So when I say mambo, you say poa, which is cool. So mambo. I gotta get you. on August 18th, 2022, I told my family I'll see them soon and left for Tanzania. The trip duration felt shorter than the actuality. I had a bit of anxiety due to it being the first time out of the country. Although having the Florida component of the program came as a great resource once again, because we did not have to travel alone to Tanzania. We all met in the Chicago International Airport. I vividly remember getting off my flight from Cleveland to Chicago and remember walking around this gigantic airport. I had never traveled solely besides Florida. So I finally remember seeing my sweet mate from UF and we hugged, and I was quickly reassured that I would be okay because I was with my athlete family. After 24 plus hours of travel, my cohort and I arrived at the Kilimanjaro International Airport, and there was awaiting our resident director, Sarah Dale, and academic coordinator, Mwalimu Omar. The overseas portion of the program was hosted for 3 months at MS Training Center for Development, also known as MSTCDC, which is a Pan-African learning center located in Arusha, Tanzania. The environment was angelic, and I extremely enjoyed taking walks and doing my work in areas around the campus, and also engaging with the monkeys. At the beginning of the overseas program, the students who attended the Learning Center were on a break, so they will return during our mid-program. Yet I was able to witness other programs, conferences, and weddings take place at the Learning Center. This allowed me to meet people from all over the world and from other countries in Africa. MSTCDC is where I spent a lot of my time due to classes, working out, boxing lessons, and studying. However, the other half of the time was spent with my host family. In these photos are my host family. In this image here is the first image I ever took with my host mom, Mama Hannah. In this image here is the night I first made them spaghetti. And there are my host brothers, Junior, Lucas, and Noel. In this top image here is what I could look outside my window and see at 6 a.m. And here are just a few images of what my mother designs. She's a seamstress and also designed my suit. We were placed in our host families based on a survey we did for American councils. My resident advisor then placed us with our host families based on the preferences we selected in the survey. My host family warmly welcomed me into their home and supported me throughout my language journey. Swahili is spoken fast in Tanzania, but with the help of my professors and host family, they moderated the conversation to ensure that I understood it. I like to point out that a key component of the abroad program is a language pledge that we all had to follow. Initially, I was intimidated by the language pledge because I had limited Swahili competence, and I couldn't maintain a conversation outside of small discussions. The language pledge was a challenge, and my language development was a journey that had ups and downs. To stay in the present moment during this journey, I found things that I love to do. I really enjoyed cooking, although with having our school lunches prepared at school and my host family's cooking all the meals, cooking for myself was optional. With my studies, I didn't also have much time to cook. However, I wanted to share my culture with my host family and prepare them a meal. So on 2 different occasions, I cooked them American dishes. The first time, I cooked them spicy spaghetti, which I believe my host brothers really loved. And the second time, I attempted to prepare them soul food, which is part of my culture. My idea was to serve them chicken and waffles, as in the image. However, I had to improvise because we didn't have a waffle iron. So, I don't know if my host mom knew that the best part of fried chicken is the fried skin, which she peeled off. But moments like these truly brought me happiness and a sense of home while being away from home. The other photographs depict Mount Meru once again, and the next several slides will include illustrations of my experiences, which I will briefly highlight. So in this slide here really just indicates things that I was able to see while at MSTCDC. Here's the library. In this picture in the middle, that's me teaching a Swahili lesson back to my mwalimu. At the top, the picture of tea. Every day we had a tea break with mandazis. And then the bottom image is just a picture of the food we ate at school, which were pretty bigger meals. Most of these images in this slide are from cultural excursions we took. And these 2 images here were a visit that we took to a secondary school named Makumira. In the middle image of me and my friends, we were at Tanga, and we had just a long term. The bottom image is of a museum. The top other image is of a cultural excursion we took to an African dance and cultural excursion. And then the bottom image is of a little girl. The little girl was my neighbor in my neighborhood, and every morning I would see her and she would run up to me. And then on days when we would return home from school at the same time and I would be tired, she would still run up to me and give me a hug. And this brightened my day. Pole sana. So, discovering new hobbies and things to do while using Swahili were extremely important to me. So in this slide shows images from a Tanzanian market that we went to in Tanga. In this market, I really enjoyed using Swahili because it really impressed the natives and showed them that I really cared and appreciated their culture and language. Another enjoyable activity for me was photographing memories. There were so many wonderful people, sights, and things that I had the pleasure to encounter. Most memories, I could only capture them mentally in the moment. I found a lot of appreciation in doing little things like this because it kept me in the present moment. And also, it gave me a sense of appreciation for how far I worked to get to that destination. The next slides are more images from cultural excursions we took. In this slide, we visited the national parks, some of the national parks in Tanzania, which were the Manyara National Park and the Tarangire National Park. What I enjoyed the most about these excursions were seeing hippos in their natural habitat. These are more images from a cultural excursion, which was a 4-day excursion we took to the coastal region named Tanga. In the image is the Indian Ocean and over a catch that a Tanzanian found in the ocean. To note, these trips were organized by a resident director who saw them as a valuable contribution to our domestic program. Having the opportunity to be culturally immersed in Tanzanian society was an opportunity I will remarkably never forget. I could go on for days about my journeys and encounters while in Tanzania. I have so many memories that I will cherish forever, such as listening to Tanzanian music, eating Tanzanian dishes, going to the fabric markets, and the memories I created with my athlete cohort of 2022. Yet, after walking 127 days to MSTCDC of sharing laughs with my friend, the journey eventually came to an end. Six months of language study is significantly considerable, and it has contributed to my growth as a person. You could possibly think how, but I learned that on days that you only give 40% of yourself, you still gave 100%. I learned through this journey to be patient with myself and embrace the journey. Language learning is a process, and it is a difficult process. The process may sometimes seem progressive, and others it may seem stagnant. However, as I cultivated this international honors project, I saw how beautiful this journey was. I met my athlete family, my Tanzanian family, who still consider me a part of their family today, and my mama refers to me as her mtoto, still calls me on WhatsApp. Lastly, I encountered a new version of myself who is less apprehensive, exemplifies humility, and a trailblazer. My main objective in presenting this presentation today is to inspire HBCU students to be a trailblazer. Know that you are deserving and profoundly competent. 90% of the battle is in your mind. You can do it. I hope that this presentation will inspire CSU students to become the next Boren Scholar. I will now discuss my ongoing endeavors and aspirations. Currently, in the graduate school preparation program, I'm beginning my preparation for the law school admissions test with my advisors. This term, I also visited a few law schools to acquire a better understanding of how to effectively prepare as an aspiring law student. My internship for this summer is still undecided. However, I applied for several legal internships and am currently awaiting responses. In terms of long-term goals, I'd like to start with how the Boren Award has revealed to me that there are significant incentives within these initiatives. The rich and varied experiences that the Boren Award has offered me has inspired me to apply for the Harry S. Truman Scholarship and the Charles B. Rangel International Affairs Fellowship. I am planning on applying for these programs next year in my senior year. These fellowships, I believe, could be valuable to me in preparing me for the international community. In addition to my long-term goals, after Boren recipients successfully complete their Boren program, students are required to work for the federal government for 1 year. This requirement takes effect once students have graduated. They are offered an extension if they seek a graduate level degree. Before beginning my 1 year federal employment, I plan on receiving a graduate level degree. Once I complete my graduate degree, I aspire to complete my service requirement with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. In closing, this scholarship has allowed me to pursue my passions in language acquisition outside of the classroom. I am grateful for the experiences, communities, and teachings I have gained along this way. Such experience, I feel, provides students with a unique perspective on the world. Opportunities such as these greatly show that there is truth in being at the right place at the right time, and that God will open doors that you did not know you had the keys to. My accomplishment of this journey would not have been possible without the abundant support from faculty and advisors at Central State University, the University of Florida, and MSTCDC in Tanzania. I also want to extend my warm thanks to those who financially and emotionally supported me throughout this journey. I want to thank my mentors, friends, and family and parents who supported and encouraged me and uplifted me throughout this entire journey. Most of all, I am deeply thankful for God and his continuous strength, love, and guidance over me during this journey. Asanteni.
Wasn't that wonderful? Thank you so much to Danielle. If you have questions for her, please stop by. This is a great way to kick off the International Bazaar Day at Central State. We'll be in here from 1 to about 3 or 4 this afternoon with all of a lot of international students presenting about the countries they've studied in or the countries from which they hail. One thing Danielle didn't mention is with the Truman Scholarship that she'll be going up for, she doesn't just apply for that. The university nominates the 3 top students from Central State University. So it's not something that any student can do. It's just the top ones. And she has been selected as one of the top scholars at Central State University to go up for that. And perhaps even be the first, among the first cohort to be nominated for the Truman Scholarship as well. As Danielle graduated in Tanzania, I watched live stream the graduation, and one of the people called her warrior in Swahili. How do you say it? I don't remember. He called her warrior, and I think you saw before you today a warrior. With a cohort of students at Central State University that I can barely get out of their dorm room, we have a warrior who went forth to the University of Florida, who went forth to Tanzania, who traveled across the world, who studied in a different language. If any of you have ever done that, it is not an easy task. It is trying mentally, physically, every possible way you can imagine. But not only did she persevere, she thrived. And that type of perseverance, that type of drive is going to position Danielle and the cohort that she inspires so well. So again, would you please join me in giving her a round of applause and a standing ovation for her time. Thank you. Good job. I'm so proud of you. You're just awesome.